Okay. All right. So, all right. So yesterday I told you guys I'm going to have you read an article. So I'm going to talk about this for a few minutes, and then I'm going to let you read this article, and then we're going to talk about it, and that'll be class today. Okay?
Wait, where's the article?
Okay. You seem like you're fired up for this.
I am.
Yeah, you. Yeah. Okay. Hey, feel free to take your backpack off and get comfortable.
I'm actually
We're going to be here for a while.
Look, I'm kind of comfortable with the backpack on.
He's ready to roll.
Just get like this.
Okay. As you guys will read, fascism is described as supercharged
Nationalism.
nationalistic statism. Okay, so this act creates the administration, changes the face of business. So you can see I have a couple examples here of code books. These code books with the blue eagle are going to be given to every industry. And they will be regulated by the government in certain areas. Okay? So these codes for fair dealing of each industry to keep prices and wages up, that's the goal. Okay? So the government's going to set a maximum work hour week. And that's where we get the 40-hour work week. Okay? Anything over 40 hours, you get what? Overtime. Okay? And a minimum wage. Now, the minimum wage, guys, is going to be struck down as unconstitutional. Nowhere in the Constitution does it say that the government has the power to dictate how much an employer pays its employees. It's going to be struck down as unconstitutional. So why, Mr. Ebright, you may ask, do we have a minimum wage today when it was found unconstitutional in 1936? Okay, so the 9 justices that voted on this in 1936, are they still alive? No, they're all dead. You get new ones, right? And they interpret the Constitution differently. Yes? Or, in this case, the two of you that have done your homework, let's do tonight.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
To look at it.
How long is it?
4 questions. All right.
5 questions.
That's not too bad. How much reading is required?
I haven't done it yet.
Now, who's the other person besides my daughter that did the homework? Okay, Alex. Did either one of you run across this while doing your homework? You did, Lily? Ella, do you remember seeing this? Okay. So as I told you earlier, Roosevelt is going to get upset with the Supreme Court because they're going to declare this unconstitutional. Parts of the AAA unconstitutional. Okay. He will attempt to pack the court. So the court packing, how many justices are there? There's 9. What Roosevelt wanted to do was add 6 new justices and put in a retirement age of 70. Yeah. So, you're going to have to explain this to me on the test. 2 of the 9 justices We're over 70. So who gets to choose the new Supreme Court justices? The president. Who has to confirm them? The Senate. Okay? So in essence, Roosevelt would be able to pick, goodness gracious, 8 of 15 justices. Does this not smack of one branch of government trying to take over another branch of government? Does this not smack of dictatorship? We have separation of powers in this country, do we not? Seems like the executive branch is trying to take over the judicial branch here. Now, even many Democrats were upset about Roosevelt's scheme to pack the court. Now, Biden's scheme to pack the court is met with rejection of just 2 of 50 Democratic senators. The rest of them are on board with packing the court today. Well, the conservatives have a 6-3 majority, and they don't like that. You know, elections have consequences. So if the other party gets elected and a Supreme Court justice retires or dies, i.e. Stephen Breyer, then the sitting president gets to choose the replacement. That's the consequence of an election. And so is the Senate, because they have to approve that. Okay? In this case, the switch in time saves 9 is a newspaper headline. These 2 old men that were over the age of 70 got scared. They wanted to keep their jobs, and they didn't want to be forced to retire. So these 2 switched their vote on the minimum wage. That's how we got the minimum wage. Blackmail.
Wait, could you go back and say?
Yeah, I mean, you'd have to get somebody to challenge it. Now, I'm a believer. Now, this is a tough sell for high school students. Okay? But I'm a believer that there should be no minimum wage. Hi.
Is it minimum wage at this?
We have a federal minimum wage of $7.35. Some states or even cities will raise their minimum wage higher than that, but the minimum is $7.35. You have to start there, unless, of course, any of you that have been a waiter or a waitress or
$2.13.
$2.13.
$2.13.
Okay. Now, with that, obviously you get tips, right? So that's why we should tip our people. Yes. Take care of our servers. Yes.
Yeah, that makes.
Okay, so like teenagers tend not to be good tippers.
I
What do you
think
get?
I always tip
Yeah.
more because I know what the servers have to deal with.
Because you've done it?
True.
I've worked in the restaurants.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know what they go through.
Yeah.
on a daily basis.
Yeah.
It sucks.
If I get good service, my wife is an insane tipper. Lily's mother, I want to support the working people. That's what she says. She gives these massive tips. Every time we stay in a hotel room, 20, 20, 20. Okay. I want to take care of the working people. That's what she said. And good for her. Yeah. I don't, if I follow her, if I took all those tips, like over the last 25 years, I'd be a rich man. Okay. So yeah, this is the fight, okay? And obviously, guys, most of this, now look at what this does. It tells businesses what they can produce, how much they can produce, and what price they can sell it at. That, my friends, okay, this is the government. Now, you still own your own company. The government's just telling you how to run it. Okay, this is what they did in Germany. This is what they did in Italy. Okay. Now, I don't know if you guys have family members that own their own businesses, right? No, Ella's dad's got some business ventures. Yeah. So how do you think they would like the government coming in and telling them how much you could produce, how much you have to pay your employees, how many hours they could work, how much you could produce, and what price you could sell it for? Now, for big businesses, this was solid, okay? Because they want to make sure there's enough goods and services for people. So they're going to take care of the big business. It's the small businesses that start getting squeezed out here, okay? Because the government say, well, you can only produce this much. And you're like, well, how the heck can I like really make a good living in my business if I can only produce this much and I can only sell it for this much? You're controlling me. Now, big businesses, they make sure that they make money and so forth. And so now some people went along with this. Now, this was a sell. They had to sell this to the American people. So they had beauty pageants, propaganda, people putting stuff up in their restaurants and in their shops, all supporting this. Okay, there's a whole campaign behind it. Now, Section 7A of the NRA gave workers the right to organize in unions. Now, people already have the right to do this, just kind of reaffirms the right to form a union, okay? And they put in charge of this operation, this administration, Hugh Johnson. He's a former general, and he's a commander. You know what I mean? So not only is the government telling you what to do, you got this guy doing it, and he's difficult to work with, and, he commanded the NRA, all right? Enjoyed the public eye. Now, small businesses really didn't benefit very much. It's just the government's going to pick winners and losers here. And I'm not sure that's something we want, is for the government to pick winners and losers. Okay? You guys remember last semester when we talked about the big bailouts for banks and how, Bank of America and Goldman Sachs got bailed out with hundreds of billions of dollars, where Lehman Brothers, another major bank, did not get bailed out. So who chose the winner and loser? Barack Obama did. Is that how our system's supposed to function? Okay, no, it's not, guys. That's crony capitalism. All right, and in this case, some would refer to this as fascism. All right, now I'm going to leave that up to you to decide. And right here, I want to repeat this, okay? As we read this article, I am not referring to Roosevelt as a fascist. Okay, how many times did you hear Donald Trump called a fascist? A lot. Okay, is Donald Trump, is he a nationalist? Did he talk about America first? Yeah, he's a freaking nationalist. Okay? Many political observers early on, when Trump ran for president in 2016, referred to him more as a national populist. Okay, he resonates with the people. Okay, the common man. That's a populist. Okay, and he certainly did draw a lot of Democratic votes in 2016. People that usually vote Democrat a lot of them voted for Trump. That's your populist candidate. Okay, now was Trump a statist? Did he want the federal government to become more powerful and control more? No, in fact, the opposite. What Trump supported was decentralization, returning decision-making power to the states. Okay? And when you talk about this mandate thing, okay, and I don't know if you heard today, the very liberal new governor of New York's going to do away with their mandates, their vaccine mandates, and their mask mandates. Thanks. Today, that decision came down. Now, some states are still holding out, and so is Lawrence, Kansas. The only spot in the freaking state of Kansas where you still have to wear a mask when you go into a restaurant or somewhere else, okay? Are you guys going there next year? Hopefully it's gone by then for you, okay? Be leaving the free state of Kansas when you enter Lawrence. It's like Missouri took it over or something. That's funny.
Good one.
I just thought of that.
Good
Kansas
history joke.
Yes. Okay, so, yeah, no, Trump was not a statist. So it's not really fair to call him that. Now, when we look at history, throughout American history, we see episodes of fascism. And that's what this author talks about. Remember when we did left wing, right wing?
Yes.
Okay? And they said fascism is over here, right? That's Lipinski, right? And so they say fascism only comes from the right. The author of this article that you got to read proposes something different. Okay? Now, you guys all wrote, most of you wrote book reviews last semester for government, yes? So you know what a book review, this is a book review of a book called Liberal Fascism. That's my copy. They're all the same. Jonah Goldberg, let me just give you a little background on Jonah Goldberg, the author of this book review. Used to work for the Weekly Standard. That's where this was originally published, which used to be a conservative magazine. Okay, Jonah Goldberg is a Trump hater, conservative, okay, and just signed a deal to go to work for CNN. Okay, if you hate Trump, CNN likes you. Okay, so
Who's fascist now?
Jonah Goldberg faces the wrath and ire of conservatives that like Trump. Okay. Yeah, they beat him up. Okay. So, read through this. Some of this, guys, will do this right here. Some of this is going to do this. All right. I'll try and fill in the gaps that you may not understand, because there's some history in here that you may not remember and some political philosophy that you may not know. Okay. So take about 15 minutes and read this, and we'll discuss it.